Hey guys, my name is xOctoManx and this is part 9 of my Chrono Trigger inventory tutorial series. In this part we will keep going and create the functionality for our organize button, so we are able to organize all the items according to, well, whatever we like to basically. I will show you two possibilities I just can think of. So the first one would be just sorting all of those by using the ID. The second one is going to be we could use the enum about whatever the type is, and after using the enum we can do a secondary order directly after this one by name. So according to however you want to set this one up, you have the possibility to do so. Also, what I want to take care is that I use the blinking finger and make sure that it is scrolling up and down when any item is going to be selected, while we are going up and down and maybe moving a long way down or something like that. And also make sure that the blinking finger is invisible when it's leaving the mask. So that are the two things we want to go and start with. The first one, what we need is we need to have in our inventory select option, I'm gonna zoom in a bit more, in the inventory select function, we need one more input option, because the first one we just have is the inventory current option is going to be 0, which is leading us to inventory use, which is actually putting us to use an order. But what we want to do is we want to, of course, make sure that we can use a second option, so inventory current option 1 in this case, which will be the organize functionality. So, and to do so, actually we just take an else or create an else if statement according to whatever the current option is. So we say else if, open close parentheses, and now we want to do the same stuff. We want to request the same input key, in this case the Y key. Again, you can use any other input key at that point. So input dot get key down, open close parentheses, we say key code dot Y, as we already have done in the upper one. And if the inventory current option is going to be equal to 1, so we make sure that's equal to 1, then we want to do something. And of course what we want to do is we want to order all our items, so or organize. I just leave a little command so I know later on what's happening specifically in here. So we say organize items. So to organize those, we're gonna have to, organize those. The second one is we want to make sure that we recreate our item list after we are done with ordering them. So there are, I believe, a lot of possibilities to do so, but the easiest one is using a functionality called lambda and link. So the first one is just we take an item and we want to order a specific list. So let's type this one out at first so I can maybe explain this one better. So what we want to have is we want to have access to our inventory. So we say inventory dot, and now we're gonna call to the instance, and we want to make sure that we're gonna have access to our inventory list. What we want to do is we want to set this inventory list to something, and that something is going to be once again inventory dot instance dot inventory list. This is important. You need to do that twice basically. So you just set this particular list to a ordered list in this case. What we want to use is now the link functionality of type or list types. It's called dot ordered by. The problem is order by, gonna type this one out, is not directly implemented, which means it's using a different namespace. When I now type out order by, I can zoom it in a bit more so you might see this one better once again. You can just go and right click on order by and you can go and resolve order by. Resolve, as you can see, is using system.link. I'm gonna go up pretty quick so you can see it once again. System.link, that is important to use the order by functionality of lists. Otherwise it's not working, so make sure you add this. What you can see now we can actually order a specific item type. In this case it's going to be our inventory item we currently have, we want to use that key basically, or that item, and order that by a specific, well, functionality by using lambda. So we say t is going to be, it can be any name. In my case, going to be t. T is going to be greater or equal to. That means we're gonna call the lambda functionality. T is going to be the item, the item we're gonna want to talk to, and we say t dot, and now we're gonna have the possibility to access the item directly. So we say t dot item. Now we want to know what's inside item, and what we now can do is we can scroll down and can sort, or order in this case, all the items, for example, by the item ID, the type, and even the name, and all the other things. So I want to show you the first one, which is requested by the Patreon, which is requesting item ID. So we just set this one to dot item ID. We close the parentheses since we are done with sorting that stuff. But now we need to make sure that we typecast, or basically typecast, this one to a list. Since we are still having a list, we say to list, and it's super important in the end, open close parentheses once again, and end the line with a semicolon. Now all items, when we are in the inventory current option 1, when we are inside that and we are pressing Y key as well, we're gonna just rearrange the current inventory list according to the item ID. And we once again basically typecast this one back as a list, so the inventory list now can be overwritten. The last thing you want to do is, as you may remember from the swapping, we want to make sure that our inventory UI is going to be updated at the same time. So we say inventory UI dot instance, and now we can say dot recreate list. That's a function we were creating in the last video. Don't forget to save. And basically what we can do is we can now test this one out. Everything now should be ordered by the item ID according to whatever our current items are. So my Azure, for example, has the item ID 6, the helmet has a 9, the high Azure is an 8, and so on and so forth. We're gonna talk about the IDs in just a moment. Just let's test this one out, what's happening when we are trying to organize all of that. So we go in here. Currently, we can actually go every time into the options canvas and see also what's happening inside the list as well. The only thing is we are not directly seeing what the items are, or how it's going to be organized. When I now press the Y key, we will see it will be automatically reordered, meaning the potion now is in the very top. What does that mean? Let's check what potion currently is. Potion is of item ID 1. The Sword of Fire is item ID 2. And what you can now go through the complete list and see what's mid potion. For example, it has the same ID, since we have that I have that currently 2 times in my inventory, even if I don't want to, but I wanted to have a longer list. As you can see, this is now item ID 3. The high potion in my case is going to be ID 4, and so on and so forth. So now all the item IDs are going to be sorted from the lowest to the highest inside our list. If you don't like using the IDs, well, we are gonna show you a second way in a moment. Just let me talk about the item IDs and maybe possibilities to sort things out. For example, in bigger games, you can basically say that all the item IDs, just gonna put in some commands in here. For example, all consumable items might go from a span of item ID 1 to maybe 100. That means 100 consumable items can be inside of that. Consumables. What you can also do is you can start on 101 and go until maybe 200, where all weapons are going to be inside. Just keep in mind that you have a specific list and a lot of space in between those items, so when you're going in and later on adding more and more items, you want to make sure that you have enough space and you don't have to rearrange all the item IDs later on. So make sure you keep yourself a lot of space in between. Also, from 201, for example, to 299, or in this case maybe 300, you can maybe put all armor pieces. So you can have a total of 100 different armor pieces. And same for the helmet and so on and so forth. Just make sure you're gonna create a list or an Excel table or any other table where you have all the IDs, all the consumables sorted by their strengths, for example, or sorted by the attack when it is a weapon, or sorted off maybe the armor. So the lowest possible armor, maybe, I don't know, actually nothing has an armor of 0, and you might want to put this one as well at the lowest number in the armor span. If there's space in between consumables and weapons, so maybe you only have 30 different consumables in the list or in your game or planned ahead, don't worry, just keep it as it is, because you might go over later on and add more specific items into the consumable part. Just make sure that you have a list about all the possible consumables, and make sure you sort them in between high enough spans. So 1 to 100 can have, well, once again, 100 different consumables, or in this case, 100 different consumables. Same for when you're gonna have later on helmets. You're gonna go from from 301 until 400 for maybe helmets. I couldn't keep all of that going according to whatever that are. And later on you will go into more or deeper IDs, basically, when you have maybe specific or at least a lot of more items. If you don't plan ahead too much, you can also go from 1 to 50 and 51 to 100, basically, for the weapons and so on and so forth. But I would recommend just maybe sort them like this. Okay, that's about everything I wanted to talk about the IDs. Now let's dig into a bit deeper what you can also do with using link and lambda to sort a list. So currently our list, or my list in here, is going to be working, and we can easily recreate it just by using the item ID. What we can also do is we can basically do the same stuff, but we can dig deeper into that. I'm gonna copy this one pretty quick and just show you a more advanced possibility to do so. As I already explained, you can also take item T in this case. It doesn't really matter. You can even use a name of whatever, U, or I don't know. Even I would work. So T is going to be once again the connection to the item we're currently in. We're gonna go to item, and now what we want to sort is, at first we want to sort this one by type. As you remember, the type is going to be of type enum, which is just our drop down list where all the types are basically written in. It represents still an ID type. So that means whatever is currently at the very top is going to be sorted at first. Let's see what that is going to work or going to do with our item when we're gonna try to do that. So we need once again to say to list, open close parentheses, don't forget to save. And let's pretty quick look into our item so I can explain it better. So this one would be at the very top. The consumables would be showing first. Weapons will be the second, armor the next, and accessory the last one. If you are changing the accessory, for example, to the very top, this one will be the first one. So make sure you have them sorted according to whatever you please like. So if you want just using the item type. But sometimes you don't just want to have this one sorted by item type, because it can be anything, or the output could be anything you don't like to have, maybe. So now you will see the weapon will be now under the consumable, but as you can see, it doesn't really matter what name, for example, this one is. So if you want to use a name for ordering the items, so at first go into the consumables, and then later on when you are going down now into the list, and you can once again see that the sword of fire is here, and maybe in helmet is an armor type. So this is going to be the next one, which is going to be sorted by all of that stuff. What I want to show you as next is you can also say at first you want to organize those by using the type, but at the second time maybe using the name. You can also do so. How can we do that? Let's see where I have been in my inventory manager. So what we can do is not just using the type to sort things out, but we can also say we type dot, and then we can use then by, which is just an extension method for using the usual order by. So then by will be additional to whatever we have done before. And that means now in another pair of parentheses we can say t is going to be equal or bigger or equal bigger. Then we say t dot item, and once again now we can use a name for that example as well. So we can sort them first by the type, second by the name, if you don't like to use the ID instead. So ID would just make things simpler, since you don't have to actually organize that 2 times, but maybe you want to use that. Don't forget to save, and let's see what's happening now when we are organizing those. So we go into, press now the Y key. It will be sorted by consumable, but also, as you can see, it will be, it will be sorted as well by name. So the iron sword is now over the sword of fire. So beforehand it wasn't. Beforehand it was just randomly, I believe. So for now, just the sword of fire was in front of the iron sword. Now it's just sorted by the name, and beforehand as well, just by the consumable. And now everything is set it up well. Just another way to sort things out. So all the consumables still are able to be in the front because of, once again, the items, this arrangement in here. Now let's just reorganize everything so our blinking finger is following our selected option or selected a selected item, and at the same time also is going to be invisible while we are going up and down. So let's at first make sure that we create the functionality for the blinking finger, and after that we want to make sure that we are hiding this one when it's actually leaving our, well, let's say our inventory screen part in here. So what we want to do at first is we want to make sure that we update our finger every time, well, not just while it is going to moving, but what we want to do is we want to check just if it is active or not at first in the screen. So what we want to do is, let me just go up a bit so I see where we are. Let's go to our void use an order function and scroll down to the end. What we currently do is in here we update permanently our horizontal finger transform the position to whatever the inventory UI instance item holder list inventory current option is going to be. Basically it's going to be the same. As you can see, the finger point is basically reading out in here. What we do is we do the same for the blinking finger, but only when it's active. So what we can do in here is we just first request if is our blinking finger active in our hierarchy. So we say if blinking finger dot active in hierarchy. That's the very first option here. So if this is going to be true, only then when this one is going to be active, do something. Since we are doing or setting this one active and inactive depending on if we are needing this one or not, we can easily use that active in hierarchy just to make sure. Okay, so what we now do is basically we can just copy all of that stuff we have for the horizontal finger. We can even go in and type this one out. What we'll do at first is we say we copy this one directly inside the if statement and change that one, the horizontal finger, now to our blinking finger. So we want to make sure that our blinking finger, the transform the position is going to be equal to, and now it's going to be interesting, to our inventory UI instance item holder list, but instead using the inventory current option, we want to use the selected item. So in that case, the selected item is going to be whatever it currently is when we are pressing or saying wherever we have just pressed. So it's not going to be on -1, but whatever it is when we are basically hitting the Y key, the position is going to be set to be the horizontal, and the inventory current option is basically the same as we have done in the selected item, which will keep active as long as we are not just resetting it one by just pressing it or something. So what we want to do is we're gonna set this one to our selected item instead of the inventory current option, And we want to, of course, read the same data. In this case, it's going to be .getComponent, and then we read the item holder finger point to transform.position and set this blinking finger to this. Don't forget to save, and let's get back pretty quick to test this out. So currently it will not be invisible when we're doing so, and I will show you still what's happening and what we're gonna do that to fix it pretty easy. So at first we say currently it's invisible. As you can see, I still have this one selected, but when I go into use an order and maybe select, let's say, iron sword, you can see it's hopping automatically to that point. What I now can do is when I go very much up, once again, you see it will still go down now to whatever the current selected option is going to be. When I go up more, you can see it will still walk around with our item list, so it's still keeping at that point. But the problem in here is it might go up into the other direction. Meaning when I just now take the most bottom one and go to the very top, no, that's the wrong one, just do it vice versa. What you can see now, the finger is going to overlay in the game screen, and that's not looking good. So what we want to do is to bypass that visibility for the blinking finger. We gonna use just the masking we already have for our item panel, basically. So if you remember maybe from the series, we're gonna create the scroll rect, and the scroll rect currently just uses a mask. If you remember as well, when we're going and increasing the alpha, this is going to be our maskable area, where everything is going to be shown. Everything which is outside that white maskable area is going to be just obsolete, or actually not visible. I reduce alpha to 1 once again, otherwise, as I already explained, it's not visible. But also what I want to do as well, I want to make sure that blinking finger is child of scroll rect, so it's going to be affected of the mask as well. Same for spacer. Spacer is currently actually activated or affected by the mask, but not blinking finger. So what I do is I take blinking finger and drag this on scroll rect, so it's going to become a part, or in this case, child of it. Also, what I want to make sure is that blinking finger is, I believe so, positioned over spacer. And since I have lost the connection to my complete prefab while changing that stuff, I want to apply the changes to the prefab once again. Let's try that out. So currently, once again, you will encounter one null reference at that point, because the update about the blinking finger might not happen the first time, or actually get updated correctly inside the options panel itself, where we have selected the blinking finger. Since that arrangement just changed at least a bit, it just fires one argument out of range, or in this case a null reference, but will not repeat. Well, that's what I believe. Don't forget to save the scene, by the way, just because of the changes as well, and update the prefab as explained beforehand. So when I now go to my inventory, there will be no null reference anymore. Go to use an order. I'm gonna use the other. I want to make sure that other is now be able to change, but as you can see, I have ordered this one wrong. So the blinking finger needs to be under spacer, otherwise it's going to be overwritten by all the items, and everything what's down or lower than the other one is going to be actually higher than this one. Once again, I have rearranged that things. I need to apply the changes once again to the prefab, so the null reference is going to be not activated once again. Somehow it still keeps firing, so let's clear this one off and let's see if everything is working correctly now. Well, no, it keeps firing. I will go into that in a moment. But what we want to go is, we want to go to the use an order functionality, press our Azure, so our blinking finger is now active. Now we can go down into the list, and what you can see now is a blinking finger, even if it is blinking over here, it's changing its alpha as we already created. And when we go up once again, we can see that blinking finger is coming down and is still at the same position where the other is. Now we can change the things. Same for when we go from use a mid potion, and here I want to organize this one to the sword of fire. You can see now it's here. We just disable it whenever we want to, and that's it. So also blinking finger is not changing, as I already explained, while we are just moving around, because it's not active in the hierarchy. That's why we just set this one to only when it's active in the hierarchy follow the instance. Otherwise it's just, yeah, you basically don't need that. Okay, that's everything. Also, it's only working in use and order functionality, which is once again part of the first option. Otherwise, well, it wouldn't. Somehow I just restarted Unity because I couldn't find the problem, which is actually having in here. Somehow just that problem disappeared, so the null reference is not here anymore. So sometimes it's the best way just to restart Unity and see if there are still the problems, well, we are not able to look into. And that's everything I wanted to cover in this little tutorial. I hope you enjoyed. Thanks for watching the tutorial. I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel if you haven't already. Thumb this video up if you like it, and feel free to become my patron or donate by using PayPal to support me and my channel in the future. All links will be below in the description. See you in the next tutorial. Bye bye.